Previously on Something Who. Welcome to the podcast where we usually take something old, the Doctor Who story from the original series, compare it with something new, one from the new series, and add something borrowed to make Something Who. Hello, I'm Richard, and after a fairly quiet autumn, we're back with Something Who podcast, and this time we're indulging our love for missing episodes. With the recent announcements from Film is Fabulous, and the suggestion that missing episodes of Doctor Who do exist in film collections, there's been an uptick of interest in this topic. This podcast only exists because of the obsession of the original hosts with missing episodes and the deep dive that several of us made into the Omnirumour. We've forgotten more about Philip Morris, his search for missing episodes and the subsequent furore in fandom than many of you will ever know. But this episode isn't about the Omnirumour. As befits Something Who, it's about the stories and indeed the episodes themselves. Each of us has picked 2 missing episodes we'd like to see back, and we'll talk about what we're missing by not being able to see them, their importance in getting a better picture of 60s Doctor Who, and our enthusiasm for them in general. And who are these mysterious superheroes forming the panel? Well, it's a fine collection of missing episode aficionados. First, it's the man who knows more about Daleks and could possibly be healthy. It's multi-talented 3D artist, writer, researcher, podcaster, telesnap animator, co-creator of Dalek 6388 and escape room impresario, Gav!
Hey! Heidi-ho. Hello there. Whose idea was this format? What a silly man. Got overexcited about some missing episodes chat and tried to break the format of Something Who.
Well, you know...
He should be shunned.
It could be fun. It could be fun. Next up, we have science and astronomy writer and our man in London, Giles.
Hello. Yes, I've got a much shorter rap sheet than Gav, haven't I?
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Don't worry. That's all right. Schlepper Royale and noted amateur postman as well.
Very good. And finally, he's so on brand for this episode that he even went missing from the Missing Episodes podcast. It's writer Paul.
Hey. Too soon. Yes, hello. I did used to like gossiping about the missing episodes of Doctor Who, and then I didn't.
Missing believed wipe.
I've already detailed to some of these people in private how the various stages of my loss of enthusiasm, and now I don't think about it at all. But it will only take one sniff of the barmaid's apron, one sniff of a return for me to, I imagine, relapse and go manic again.
It's easily done.
So my choice for this first round of stories or episodes was Power of the Daleks, episode 1.
At the end of the episode, where they go into the Dalek capsule, there's a telesnap of the blob, and they react to what is depicted in the animation as the blob scuttling around. In the scripts, that is not scripted as a blob, that is scripted as a hand, a claw. So when you look at the telesnap again, you think, well, yes, it does look like a hand, but we, I guess, have always assumed that is the hand of a visual effects artist wobbling what we assume to be a Dalek embryo. But I'm just fascinated by the fact that the script says it's the claw of a Dalek creature on the end of a limb. So have we inferred that it's bad puppet work, and actually it is meant to be the hand of a Dalek embryo? Or, I don't know. Certainly we get a lot of embryo blobs later in the episode. They're not full-sized creatures, but I'm thinking back to the last time David Whittaker wrote or oversaw a Dalek story where
I was just
Dalek
the
came out of the casing,
yeah,
and you see the claw under the blanket.
Yeah.
So I would love to see that telesnap in motion and figure out exactly what the movement is like, and whether that's actually a Dalek hand, like coming through the vent, or whether it's, as we've always assumed, a little scuttling blobbing off.
Interesting, that picture, because I guess I'd never thought about it. All I'd sort of seen was the sort of blobby thing. It looks a bit like the blobby things that they pull out in episode 4.
Exactly. And yet,
yeah,
if you read it directly off the camera script, then that's exactly what it looks like. It looks like an arm squeezing through the grating to fondle around the place.
Yeah. It's almost like they changed their mind halfway through the story.
Yeah. But it could just be a blob and a trick of the light or some bad puppetry. But this is why we need it back immediately.
Yep.
Oh, the cat's coming. Yes, you can sit on my lap. Oh, it's all right. Come on. Mika. Come on, then.
Podcat.
Podcat.
So, Giles, you've chosen the Massacre, episode 4, The Bell of Doom.
What? Oh,
yeah, sorry.
Sake. What did I say?
I know, it's very Route 1. I'm a basic bitch. What can I Yeah, and I hadn't realised until literally when we started recording that I'd managed to pick 2 from that hack Lucarotti.
Double Lucarotti, eh?
Yeah, and what can you say about this one? It's obviously everyone seems to have decided they love the Massacre these days. It's a bit of a mystery to me quite why, apart from whether it's just people who want their Doctor Who to be grown up and
well, you picked it.
What have you? I know I picked it, yeah.
You solved the mystery of why people picked this.
It's a mystery to me why anyone would listen to any of it, let alone
No,
part
exactly.
4.
Exactly. But, I guess I picked it for basically the obvious reasons. I mean, I know we don't get Heartless the Abbot in it, but then we don't get that much of Heartless the Abbot in any episode of it, do we? It's one of those odd, God knows.
One of those odd stories where the Doctor's missing for the middle 2 episodes.
Yes.
Terence must have liked it because he wrote about twice as much about the Massacre as he did about Dalek Master Plan.
Oh, okay. Right. What does he have to say?
Oh, it's true. But it's basically too involved to be bothered to read it out. But,
well, I can imagine.
But he goes into quite a lot of ins and outs.
Yeah. I guess the reasons I would want this one back would be top of my list would be all the predictable reasons, the telecine, the Massacre sequence itself. I'd like to see exactly how that was done.
At that 1 minute, 20 seconds montage of prints of the Massacre.
Yeah. Are there that many?
I don't wish to interrupt, but I haven't really mentioned which recons I've been watching for this. I've been watching a certain fan has created sort of AI animated recons with which to a greater or lesser degree it's Ian Levine. To a greater or lesser degree are based on telesnaps and photographs and things, and some of them I find them very very watchable. They sort of tick my boxes. I'm not going to go on justifying. Anyway, in his version, it fades over the 1 minute 20 seconds of woodcuts. We fade in faces of the various characters pulling expressions. But I noticed that's not in the camera script, so I assume somebody's just invented that. I mean, knowing him, it's the sort of thing he would insist. Oh, I remember that. It was in my wrote in my diary.
Yeah.
But has anyone ever heard anything to suggest that happened? Or is it just woodcuts?
I mean, it's also in the loose cannon recon.
Is it?
They've superimposed the odd face here and there, I think.
Oh, there you go.
I think a lot of his
I don't remember.
Work is based on loose cannon.
It is.
Rather than starting from scratch. So
Certainly
that might be why he just gives it to his outsourced people and says, do this, but AI, I think.
And a lot of loose cannon would in turn be based on Ian's recollections.
It's interesting, though.
Certainly be influenced by it. Yeah.
All his pages of Dalek Master Plan from his legendary diary, it's all dialogue because he was transcribing from his audio cassettes. So it's not useful, not a useful visual record. There's 1 or 2 little sketches, like I think he draws Trantis's face in his diary. But otherwise, it's literally the Doctor says this, Stephen then says this, the Doctor says this, and Stephen says this. So that would not help with all of these important questions.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Sorry, get back on track, please, Giles.
Sorry, Giles.
No, don't worry. So yeah, I'd love to see that bit and how that was mounted. I'd love to see the soliloquy bit and how exactly that is, how that's staged.
Oh yeah.
I guess we have got. Have we got any real elements of Dodo coming aboard, or is that all faked up for the loose cannon?
No, the only thing we have is the shots of her running across the road on location.
Right. Okay.
To the TARDIS prop that I am very interested to see how that looks on screen.
Yes.
Do we get to see any shots of the famously, hilariously bad side panels, or are they just a token gesture to keep the front upright? Is it all just filmed from the front, or is it in such long shot that it doesn't show up on that film?
Is that on one of the Australian 8mm clips?
No.
Is that where? No. So where's it? Where do we have it from?
We just got photos of the location shoot.
Oh, okay, right.
Of the TARDIS being erected.
Yeah.
On Windmill Road or whatever.
Okay. But yeah, we don't seem to have had any.
But I would love to see that first scene with Dodo and her maximum accent. She's never more northern than in that first scene, is she?
Yeah.
Right.
But it did strike me that soliloquy is kind of the end of a 16-episode story arc, really. And to some extent for a character arc for the Doctor, considering what he's been through and what bloody Wiles and Tosh have been putting him through. And it's never quite, that Mythmaker's master plan massacre thing is never to be repeated. But the other thing that is the slightly less obvious thing, I would love to see Andre Morel as Tavan in particular, and in particular that scene with the Queen, where he's got where he has the list, and I would love to see how that's how that's played.
My notes just say tension, Queen.
Where is the list? There is no list.
Yeah,
very simple, rather chilling.
Yeah,
and contrasted with the other equally chilling line of hers, heresy. What is it? Heresy can have no innocence. It's gosh, she's a bugger, isn't she?
She is, yeah. It's interesting because it's quite how much they managed to salvage him as being sympathetic as a result of that, because he then sort of takes it out on his underling Simon, doesn't he? By spoiling his fun. So so I'd love to see that, but Andre Morel's quality actor anyway. So
the other person that I would like to see is Annette Robertson.
Ah, yes.
I think Anne, that performance is brilliant. She's so earnest and fraught at the start of this episode. And it's such a shame that they balked at this idea and swapped her for Jackie Lane. And that's
Doctor
not an
who wants an earnest and fraught companion. He wants somebody who's a bit of fun. Wants somebody who comes in with no baggage. No, she doesn't talk like that. Sorry.
Well, she might do.
It's demented, isn't it? As you say, Giles, it's a 16 or what you seem to be implying 17 episode arc for tragedy for the Doctor, and then. What, do they deliberately want to swing the dial all the way to the other extreme and have the most asininely happy-go-lucky companion ever? They're virtually certifiable.
Well, you get the arc straight. Is the arc the next after this?
Yeah.
Yes, got the blocked-up nose. She's got the accent and the nose in the next one. She sounds like Charlton and the Wheelies, is it?
The more ill she gets, the more her accent comes back. It's very odd. Bidoz is running. But when Bidoz is fine, I've got to receive pronunciation. But it's mad, isn't it? Because so they allegedly make the same mistake twice. Katerina and Anne, and they think, we'll have a companion from the past. Oh, wait a minute, this isn't going to work. Let's get rid of her. I've got an idea. We'll have a companion from the past. Oh, wait a minute, this isn't going to work. We'll get rid of her. And then in the blink of an eye, they introduce a character from 1746 who goes on to be one of the most popular companions of all time, proving that it was just an absolutely nonsensical, short-sighted view of what and how you can write. And given that the role of the companion is to ask questions of a more intelligent character, who better than somebody who has no answers or experience? And it doesn't matter, if you're going to take someone from 1960 to a space ark and have to answer all her questions, you might as well have someone from.
I suppose the extent they thought about it at all, they probably thought, oh, we will have to explain everyday stuff like electric light switches and so on. But of course, you don't have to, and you can use it for comedy, like they occasionally do with Jamie until that novelty wears off. It's as illogical as the whole business of why the Doctor, but less irking to me, why the Doctor keeps insisting he can't change the course of history, because there is no now for Doctor Who. I just want to. I mean, and as wonderful as that speech is, and as both in itself and as the climax of this 17-episode arc, and the Doctor says, well, Stephen first says, was there anything we could do? No, there wasn't, he said, which is a bit more defeatist than usual. He managed to save the entire galaxy from the Daleks' time disruptor, but he can't. Anyway, and of course he says, not only that, we can't change the course of history. You know that, he says. Yeah, we know that. You keep telling us, Doctor, but what is history? What do you mean by history? You can change the future. You can change the present. Whenever you land in the present, you can change that. But 1 year, the present is 1963, then it keeps moving forward year by year, Doctor. And does that mean that you can change, let's say, for example, the War Machines, 1966? You can change that. But if he comes back a year later, he can't. It's nonsense. And I know I get far too het up on this, but it's because I think it's a cop-out until they finally decide to address it with a nice bit of hand-waving in the new series.
I know, again, it is outside the remit of our assignment, but you have reminded me of Marco Polo, because I was thinking about how everyone talks about the Aztecs being that explainer for Doctor Who and its rules. But I actually re-listened to all of Marco Polo 2 weeks ago before this selection was made.
Good heavens.
And it struck me that that's the first instance. But it goes the other way. It's not the first instance of establishing you can't change history. They are very concerned about making sure that history isn't changed, because they have to warn Kublai Khan to make sure that the attack isn't successful, because it will knacker all of history. So long before the Aztecs, you've got a completely malleable scenario where history can be changed, and the TARDIS crew have to, in the nick of time, make sure that a historical figure isn't killed, because otherwise that will change things. So I can't talk about that on this podcast, because I set down the rules that is not part of our.
She's done so well at following. No sign, nary a Dalek. Yeah, of course. In this day and age, you just do a Clara with Annette Robertson and cast her as Dodo. Why that didn't seem to occur to them?
That's mad as well. Yes,
and
because having decided the character didn't work, but thought it was a brilliant idea to have her as a descendant, and therefore the whole payoff is that she didn't die, and they thought, well, we'll recast her.
Yeah.
To an inferior. Sorry, Jackie, if you're listening. To an inferior actress.
Yeah,
but they needed somebody who looked exactly like the Doctor's granddaughter, Susan Foreman. Because that's Dodo's big plus point. It just sounds chills down the spine how similar they are.
Right down to the accent.
Yeah.
He made up the name TARDIS from the initials.
She Welsh.
Welsh now, eh?
Yeah. I've written down here that Anne and Dodo must be related because they both got broad accents.
Aye. Well, was she the only Northerner in the Massacre? We can't talk about the other 3 episodes, so forget I asked. But that what is now quite a common convention of using English rural and or class accents to delineate the same things in other societies. I wonder how far back that goes. Has there been any of it in any Doctor Who histories before this?
Reign of Terror, doesn't that have a comedy? Isn't the jailer?
Yeah. Well, Cockney. No,
is he Cockney?
I've no idea. I don't know.
I know it's got a comedy accent of some sort.
And Anne's not northern.
She's more sort of
West
Wessex.
Country. Sorry, did I say northern?
West
I meant
Country.
West Country. Yeah.
Yes.
I misspoke. Not for the first or last time.
I'd quite like to see Eric Thompson as well, just because
Socially.
my dad used to be a salesman for Hodder and Stoughton, so I had a stack of Magic Roundabout books as a boy, as written by Eric Thompson. Very, very good, actually. I mean, I'm not saying that as a 58-year-old I'd find them fascinating, but as a kid, they were well written and quite engaging. So yeah, just to sort of see what I know what he sounded like because I've listened to quite a lot of Magic Roundabout, but it'd just be interesting to see what he looked like.
I had those corgi toys when I was a tiny child. Think of a corgi, the figures and the
indeed,
and the roundabout. Anyway, sorry.
What is happening? I don't know what's going on.
Just as a bit of cheap therapy, I won't go on about this too long, but I would just like to give you the latest instalment of my ongoing personal battle with the Massacre. I went on at length last time I discussed the Massacre on a podcast about how I've never really understood it, never been able to get my head around the plot, and I was never sure why. It was just impenetrable to me on audio, on Recon, and I studied it intensively for the Missing Episodes podcast. I understood it finally, read the book. I was an expert briefly, and it's all gone. I came in here, episode 4, not a clue who any of these people were, and it's I don't know why. I don't know if that's because it is much better, more serious drama than normal Doctor Who, or because what other explanation could there possibly be? It's not the only Doctor Who story which is mostly populated by men, earnest men talking in rooms. So why can I never remember who anybody is? I don't know. It's a rhetorical question. You don't have to answer me. But I didn't have that trouble with any of these others, even ones.
Well, I think part of the problem is in order for us to know who are the goodies and who are the baddies, they wear different coloured clothes. So you got a double problem because it's in black and white and it's missing. So we no hope of knowing.
Right.
Also,
that's why it's morally grey, isn't it? It's morally grey, Gav.
Excellent.
Your nan.
My nan. Sorry, not my nan. Ma Boswell. So, my confusion when I was little, I went to a C of E school, and my nan, Ma Boswell in bread, always reminded me of my nan in extremely facile ways.
Yeah.
She used to shout, "She is a tart!" at the top of her voice all the time, did she?
Constantly. No, she didn't.
Yeah. Oh.
She's a very respectable woman. But she was a little bit Scouse, and she was probably the oldest person I knew. I don't know. There was no real similarity, but she was from Liverpool. That's the headline. Both of them were from Liverpool. And Ma Boswell always used to rant about Protestants. The proddy vicar, he was the enemy.
Right.
So growing up, I never knew what the terminology was for the goodies and the baddies in this religious schism that afflicted lives of people that cared about religion. So I didn't know what C of E related to. I assumed that the woman that sounded vaguely like my nan would be on the same side of this religious war. I didn't understand what a Catholic was. And then added into that mix, you've got all these... I just karate chopped my microphone over. Not because I'm drunk, just because I'm being enthusiastic about the schism. And then in the telling from the Massacre, you got these additional terms like Huguenots. So What's my point? My point is that you've got to have a handle on the religious divide, figure out what side each culture is on nationally, and then realize that even within national boundaries, there are religious divides that will confuse you, like Catholics in Liverpool. Like, you can't default to the idea that England is Church of England. The clue is in the name, except for all the people who are not Church of England, who sound like your nan, who are therefore on the wrong side of... So you've got all of these extra bits of information that you need to try to follow the plot. And even having finally figured out that my nan and Ma Boswell were different people and on different sides of the religious... Well, my nan was an atheist, so that's a bad example, but you get my picture. And then the Massacre doesn't even use these terms. He doesn't use Church of England. So when somebody says they're going to kill the Huguenots, I can't remember what side I'm on. So my notes for the Mythmakers 4 said, who are all these people and who are the baddies? That also applies to the Massacre.
Well, there aren't any goodies and there aren't any baddies, are there? I mean, that's the truth. I mean, it's basically just a great big culture war that's been going on since the 1500s. You know,
apart from the fact that the ones who are wandering around killing thousands of people are probably the baddies.
But next week it'll be them that's on the boot will be on the other foot. I mean, in that period of history, basically, given half a chance, one lot would have murdered the other lot. And it has nothing to do with religion. It's just to do with...
Very relativistic of you. I'm surprised.
You know, it's very much like the culture wars we see right now. It's not you know, when people talk about the Christian right in America, they don't really mean that they're Christians. I mean, some of them might be, but basically, it's not about Christianity. It's about it's about an ethical point, or it's not even an ethical. It's a point of view, and fundamentally, it's the same back then. They've taken opposite stand. You know, Catholics and Protestants in Northern Ireland. It's all they've taken a particular stand. Some of them might actually believe in it, but fundamentally it's ingrained in them, and they are on one side and they're on the other, and unfortunately neither of them is the goodie or the baddie. That got a bit deep, didn't it? Sorry.
Yeah.
That's probably why I don't understand it. Thank you for making me realise it's because I'm uneducated and generally unbelievably thick and gittish.
That seems a very, very good cue to move on from the sublime to the ridiculous.
Go on then. So, Paul, I believe you've chosen Celestial Toymaker Episode 3, The Dancing Floor.
Yes, I have. Oh, God, I wish I could hear the groans from our audience as they hear that. It's the only reason Why would that...
What are you thinking?
I mean, I feel like I am when I watch The Celestial Toymaker. I can only imagine what elevated heights of psychedelic ecstasy I could achieve if I could see the real thing. My God, man. Yes, I've been up and down on Celestial Toymaker as well. As I've said it many a time, I loved the idea of it, from all the wonderful colour photographs in Doctor Who Weekly and the macabre description, Bentham's description perhaps, of all the surrealistic deaths, these inanimate objects. When I first listened to it on the audio CD, obviously I thought it was dreadful. And then it's been a case of rebuilding my enthusiasm from there. Recons have made it look more intelligible, and Ian Levine's, the one he paid for, I can't credit anybody else with it because I don't know who did it, but it's a thing of beauty that is the Celestial Toymaker, his version.
Have you seen the official animation?
No. I mean, I was planning to watch it today and I couldn't be bothered. No, that's not true. I'm actually trying to play it at the moment. I was thinking I had a few minutes left to have a quick look at it.
Wow.
I get the theory that it is a story where if there was one story where you're going to go mad and not bother about being faithful,
go big or go home.
Yes.
Well, I told someone whose name shall remain nameless that you'd chosen this episode as your one of two Doctor Who episodes that could be recovered.
Yep.
And his reply was, The Dancing Floor is, I think, the single worst episode of classic Doctor Who. He's probably right.
Why do they have to remain nameless? So they get to slander me?
Well, it's Toby Haydock, if you're interested.
Yay! Toby, we used to get on so well. Oh dear. Does he listen to this?
I can make him listen to it if you want.
God no. God no. He'll be glad that I never did take up his offer to go on his podcast. Yes, episode 2 is better, but I chose 3 partly because I know that everyone thinks it's the worst, and I thought it would be funnier in a sick kind of way. It has more variety than episode 3. It's got 2 locations, so you're not stuck in the same place for quite as long. So really, I mean, that was my sop to people who inexplicably don't enjoy the Celestial Toymaker.
I watched it this morning. It's not the worst 25 minutes I've spent this week. It was all right. It zipped by quite nicely. I thought, it was all right. I understood what was supposed to happen.
Wow, that is a low bar.
The Celestial Toymaker is the story where Doctor Who, as we know it, starts, where it is born. That mixture of humour, weirdness, and horror for which it is famous starts in the Celestial Toymaker.
Tell me one bit that's funny.
Well, the supporting characters, episode 2 is better. The Hart's family are rather good. You told me earlier I was not allowed to mention episode 2. So having made my bed, having shat in my bed, I've now got to lie on it. No, the story only really makes sense, only really clicks if once you can somehow bear in mind that the supporting characters, the dolls, are real people, or were real people, who now only exist as some sort of disembodied consciousness, and even then only when the Doctor takes that consciousness, the Toymaker, imbues it into some doll and brings it to life. And then they're still not themselves. They're 80% the character they've been given, whether it be Sergeant Rugg or Mrs. Wiggins, or the Hart's family. But they're also still themselves. They still know that they're trapped in the toy room. And again, it's clear in part 2 that dichotomy that you have to read between the lines and under the lines to realise how horrifying that is, and that's the fate that would await the Doctor and his companions if they were stuck here. If they don't get away, they will be put away on a box, but not as themselves, not as little miniaturized versions of themselves, but a half-life or a 10th life where they will occasionally be woken up and they will half remember who they were, but be forced to live out ridiculous games, play children's games over and over again, and either die horribly or on the vague promise that if they win, they might get back to reality, which is presumably something that slips further and further away from them with every passing millennium. So that's the best bit of the Celestial Toymaker, and I think it's most apparent in the middle 2 episodes. Part 4, of course, when we've just got the funny fat schoolboy, doesn't really bring that across. So that's one reason why it's not so well thought of. Episode 4 is a bit of a crushing bore, I admit. I'm optimistic that the ballet dolls, the dancing floor itself, could be one of the eeriest visuals in the story, because at the very least, presumably the actors they hired, the dancers they hired, can dance. So it should look, as a bit of movement, a bit of action, it should look good, even if the pie throwing fight doesn't. But on the flip side, that's half the episodes we've chosen are ones in which there's a bit of action which is either quietly incomprehensible because there's nothing going on the soundtrack, or manically incomprehensible. And as I said, we don't want to go the full Feast of Stephen, but here the first half of the episode would undoubtedly be bearable if you could see what was going on. So that's why it's my choice. The dialogue,
because some of it is bearable.
You do get a hint of that thing, what you're talking about with the scene where the Toymaker's got at the doll's house, where he picks out the serial doll and has the others there, which are referenced in the camera script. So it's presumably not just a loose cannon invention that they're there. I think there's certainly a hint of it there, and his attitude to Sergeant Rugg and Mrs. Wiggs when he's threatening them.
I presume you've all watched my deep dive into the script archaeology of the Celestial Toymaker, where I lay out the reality of the original script. And
how long ago did you produce this? Or just
18 months, 2 years ago.
Maybe I haven't.
It was about the same time as the Toymaker came back, wasn't it?
Oh yes, I tried to time it, so it's just after that. Yeah.
Oh, Gavin, I'm so sorry. I mean, I watched all your early videos, but I've kind of,
Right.
I just don't really do anything Doctor Who related anymore. Oh, that sounds right up my street. So, help me out.
Don't watch it now. We're doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Cue it up in your watch list.
So, where did George and Margaret come in?
You want me to answer that now?
No, I don't.
There's a 45-minute YouTube video on it.
Yeah.
Link in the description.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for Michael Gough in this because he's got nobody to act with. Well, apart from a very brief moment where he gets to meet Sergeant Rugg and Mrs. Wiggs, most of the time he's got nothing. And, you know...
Well...
I mean...
There's no Hartnell in this, is there?
No.
And...
Well, I just think that must be pretty hard going.
Yeah. No, I don't feel sorry for him. He's a professional actor. Actors are very used to working on their own, if necessary. It's not like he's talking to, for God's sake, everybody nowadays films one half of a duologue with against a beach ball on a stick. He's not actually talking to the Doctor in this episode. You would never know that he there is not a sign in his performance in these middle two episodes that he is troubled by either the dialogue or by monologuing to himself. It's superb. He doesn't put a syllable wrong. So I don't feel sorry for him. I feel sorry for Annika Wills, but that's a different story.
She's not in this either.
No.
Her and Hartnell have no lines.
He doesn't know.
No.
He has. He has some lines in episode 2 which I didn't choose. But what I noticed this time, the Invisible Doctor speaking in part 2 is oddly reminiscent of the Three Doctors, because in that he sounds like he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it was definitely. Say these lines and go off on holiday. Bill.
I think famously his last line is supposed to be cut off, interrupted, and he doesn't say it that way. Which, to be fair, blame the director for that. But yes, Hartnell makes a mess of the dialogue where he's talking to himself, and Gough doesn't. So no, I don't feel sorry for anybody.
I do think, however, that special recognition needs to be given to the line where the Toymaker talks to thin air and says, "You dare to laugh at me, do you, Doctor? You forget I can see you if no one else can. You laugh too soon." Which is really doing some reaching there. Trilogic Game is Tosh's introduction, isn't it? Am I correct in that, Gav?
You'll have to watch my YouTube video about it.
Okay. My only...
How many views has it had, Gav?
Oh, I don't know.
Did you notice there's a couple less than you were expecting? Because I promise you I will rectify this as soon as I...
Thank you.
I was just looking at the camera script. I was just particularly... Clearly, whoever wrote the final camera script really had a bug up their arse about the Trilogic Game, because there is a ridiculous line of description. The tally recorder reads 876 in the A corner of the. Sorry, I'm trying to read this when it's faded on the. In the A corner of the board, a file counts as 885. At corner B, a 7 and 6, and at C, are 0, 9, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Good grief.
The visible hand of the Doctor moves counter 5 onto counter 6, and then counter 1 onto counter 8. It's just like...
The Radio Times ran a feature about the Trilogic Game.
It's
based on the Tower of Hanoi. And it's a very simple puzzle you can solve in about 3 seconds.
Yeah,
my videos had 32,000 views, Paul, which is not very many. But it's still doing better than the Bernardo's video, which is on 11,000 after...
32,000 people wanted to know about... take a deep dive into the multi-layered genesis, the script of the Celestial Toymaker.
Well,
you are then. I think you're underestimating.
Well, it is a story that's far more fascinating for its... Yeah. the history of the story is far more entertaining than the story itself.
So people think nowadays, but once it is recovered, starting with episode 3, and then then 1, and then for ending on 2, people will. By the time we get to just episode 2 missing, people will be salivating for it. I promise you.
I feel like
I'm playing the long game with this.
Yeah, I mean, you put up a good fight there, Paul. But I feel we've spoken about Toymaker episode 3 for as long as we possibly could.
Yeah, good.
And it's time to move on to Gav's second choice.
Hello. Hi. What did I choose?
Power of the Daleks episode 4.
I chose Power of the Daleks episode 4 for a very obvious reason, which is the Dalek production line. But it's still got lots of other great stuff. I mean, Troughton twinkles. I'd love to see the scene of the Dalek bringing the drinks in. All of Power is captivating and beautifully paced and has a sense of menace. But the visuals of that, Lesterson going into the capsule in the spooky darkness and discovering what the Daleks are up to, and these long film sequences of production lines and half Daleks, tops of Daleks being lowered onto Dalek skirts as other Daleks scoop mutant blobs out of a spherical tank and plop them in. It's just glorious in the photos that we've got, and the telesnaps look great, and I love all the squealing, and you just know that there's lots of little bits that we've got no idea about. There's a half a clue in one telesnap that there seems to be some kind of electrode unit. So the Dalek, it looks like the Dalek with the net scoops an embryo out of this mini Dalek tank, takes it over to an electrode thingy, and another Dalek pushes the electrode unit down onto the embryo and zaps it like Frankenstein's monster, brings the embryo to life, and then that Dalek with the net plops it into the skirt, and then the top is lowered down.
Like a modern Prometheus.
Yes, exactly like it. But, you know, how mobile are these top halves? What really moves? Is it smoke and mirrors? Is there really a crane lowering bits of Daleks in half, or is it done with clever cuts? Also, the few surviving clips we've got of Power of the Daleks often have a little bit too much wobble in them. You know, we've got half a dozen clips of Power of the Daleks, and in 3 of them a Dalek wobbles or hits the camera or misses its cue. I hope that's not representative. I do worry that it's going to be a Tomb of the Cybermen situation, that it looks startlingly cheap when it all comes back. But there's so much to ponder, and all the character stuff. I want to see Troughton just fiddling about with a notice board and deciphering secret messages and all of that fun stuff. Big and small bits.
I don't think I could care about the cardboard Daleks because I've come to terms with them in the Daleks. So why would I worry about them in Power of the Daleks?
Yeah, I think they're done worse in Power of the Daleks because they're sort of stepped upwards. So in an attempt to make the perspective look like they're going into the distance, which doesn't make any sense, but also they're on bits of string, so they're being wobbled, which draws attention to the fact that they're two-dimensional. At least if they're just static in the background, they're not too incongruous. But those tests, I don't know how you describe them, the Derek Dodd frames that were discovered a couple of years ago, they're test exposures, aren't they? So they're not film trims, they are actual equivalent clips, so they are screenshots, they are broadcast material, is that right? So that stuff in the lab, the overhead shot, Lesterson's close-up, the pause in his skin, the terror in his eyes. Somebody find it immediately, please.
It definitely brings that recon back to life. Those little moments of slight movement.
Loose Cannon doesn't do regular updates, does it? But hopefully a revamped version will be done with Derek Dodd's
Well, it's in the version that's on the
of course
DVD
it will
set.
be.
So it's pretty impressive, I think.
I do think for me it will be because this is the story with the bulk of this is the episode with the bulk of Lesterson's breakdown material.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's peerless the whole way. It escalates from the whole thing with the Doctor and Ben noticing the extra Dalek, and then that being what sort of tips him over the edge to think what is going on. There's nice stuff for Jandy in here as well in this episode. A lot of her blackmailing Lesterson. All of that stuff is good.
And the reveal of Bragan as the leader of the rebels.
Yes, yeah.
Is he going to emerge out of the shadows if we see the real thing? Is that the recon I watched?
I think so. Yeah.
I hinted towards that, but slightly bungled it. But, although you can tell it's him, obviously, because it sounds like him.
Unfortunately, Annika Wills gets a week off, and we get a rather tedious kidnapping subplot inserted. That's the only downside here. I think really, these things were de rigueur back in the day.
Yes, it's a bit like Keys and Marinus, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, very, yes. Good point.
Except. Well.
Except?
No, that's right.
Oh, except it's good. Yeah.
Well, no, I wasn't going to try and find out.
No, it's better. It is better done. But just thinking about the fact that Whittaker obviously script edited that and maybe dipped back into maybe it came up, maybe it was rattling on the back of his head as a way.
Well, I mean, if we were to consider some bubbling under stories that nearly made our lists, I was considering Space Pirates 6 for that reason, just because it'd be so interesting to see how that all cuts together when you're trying to hide the fact that none of your cast are there.
Yes, yeah.
Do some of it played in on a tape, do some of it on film, do some of it just out of shot, people talking to the Doctor off screen. That would be fascinating to see how well hidden that is. But we're not here to talk about the Space Pirates.
It's funny how it's almost harder to talk about something that is really good than it is to talk about something that is less successful.
Well, we can go back to Toymaker 3.
How do you know?
We're not here to talk about the Space Pirates. We're apparently here to talk about Toymaker Part 3.
Well, look. This is like picking, I don't know, Web of Fear 4 before we'd seen it, because people who actually understand anything about individual episodes knew that there was something special in Web of 4 Fear. And I didn't. That's why I trust people like that, people like Gavin Rymil, for example.
Well, the only other thing you could argue Power 5, because you get some of the production line in the recap, and then more fun stuff later, but you don't get. I don't think you get enough of the production line in 4. In the recap to abandon the rest of 4.
I don't normally go on about production details, but you got me intrigued. If it's a claw at the end of episode 1, then does that mean that the full mutants should have claws in episode? Because they don't, do they?
Yeah, well, it doesn't really make any
tentacles.
sense in terms of the blobs in the tanks, because the blobs in the tanks do look like what might be a hand in the telesnap. So it's on balance of probability, based on the embryos in the tanks, you think that's got to be the whole Dalek with 5 or 6 spindly limbs. But once you read the script and look at that telesnap, it looks for all the world like somebody's hand on the end of a Dalek sleeve. And maybe it's a hand coming out of a grate, fondling around on the floor. I don't know. It's time we got this story back.
Okay, well, in which case, let's move on to the final selection, which is my choice of Highlanders, the Highlanders episode 3. Which I picked primarily because as I was mentioning earlier, you've got an arc for the Doctor in Power that sees him. I mean, he's certainly eccentric at times, but also fairly recognisably Doctorish in places too. And then in the Moonbase, you've got a character that's sort of fairly easy to recognise as the Second Doctor. And in between the two of them, you've got this, the Highlanders, and you've got then the Underwater Menace, when you've got a very sort of strange character who's sort of a bit willful and kind of weird in places. And, I mean, perhaps if we had it all back, you could see a through line through it. But without being able to see it, without being able to see the business that Troughton does. So I've picked Highlanders 3 for a couple of reasons. One, because, I mean, we've got the Doctor in drag for about half of it as the old woman.
Washerwoman, yeah.
And then you've got him kind of can't really be bothered to listen to Polly and Kirsty and doesn't really want to get involved, and then reluctantly goes off and gets a big pile of weapons. But he's being sort of anti-heroic. And in terms of what I read from this camera script, you know, the bit of business that I'd like to see at the start of episode 3 of the Doctor, he's in a queue for getting beer from a barrel and sort of elbows soldiers out of the way. So it's all kind of, it's all fairly anti-heroic stuff. So it'd just be interesting to see that and get more of a handle. And in previous parts of this, there's been more of the same. So, I mean, you could argue that when the Doctor needs to be the Doctor, he kind of just about buckles down at the end of the episode. But it's a performance that I'd like to see. Also, I'm keen to see this because I think it's one of those episodes, and again, Highlanders 2 sort of similar, where Annika Will sort of steps up and gives a really, or gets an opportunity to give a really good performance. I mean, she gives a pretty good performance in anything that she's in, but a lot of the time she's given precious little material to work with, and here she's got an opportunity to run rings round Finch.
She's very proactive in this.
Yeah.
As Tim pointed out on the Highlanders episode of the Missing Episodes podcast, she becomes the de facto Doctor and Kirsty becomes her companion.
Yeah.
And they go off on their own adventure, and I think that's pretty on the nose.
Yeah.
I think this episode has a lot to offer. The inside of the Annabelle, gross, grim, interesting. As you say, the Doctor was a washerwoman. I like the Perkins character switch, where he's suddenly being all eloquent to Polly and Kirsty, and then the Doctor comes in and upsets him again. In terms of things I've got no idea about, that scene where the Doctor says to Perkins, "You wait here and we're off," and then there's a period of something like, I don't know if it's 30 seconds, 30 seconds. Of unscripted, unknown, some bit of business with Perkins in the pub. These are the kinds of small mysteries that intrigue me. Yeah. When there's no hint in the script and there's no hint in the audio and there's something on screen. And it may just be that he's just, having a sandwich and sipping his beer, but they're questions I urgently need answered.
Yeah, I agree.
Picking up on the Polly and Kirsty thing, Michael Elwyn. It's the third part of that, and it's great as well. It would certainly be nice to see a bit of his performance actually in action, I think.
What do people think about the Scottish accents in this story? Do people ever comment on them, or are they generally considered unexceptionable?
Well,
I only mention it because I watched an episode of Red Cap the other day with John Inspector Morse Thor in it. In 1964, and it featured a Scottish regiment of soldiers, and most of the Scottish accents.
I think the lead's all right. Kirsty's passable.
The actor playing Kirsty, well, she is Scottish, isn't she?
Yeah, I mean,
Hannah Gordon.
They were in the Highlanders. They're about as good. Well, I did wonder why you're all suddenly talking all over me.
Sorry, we got as far as you watched an episode of Red Cap with John Thor in it.
It said my internet connection was unstable. It's charming. I'm taking that very personally. No, I just I mean, the accents in this story is exactly what I'd expect. Whereas in the episode of Red Cap, I don't know why I'm bringing it up, but I was astonished at how bad they were. It was like they were equivalent to I don't know, the American accents in the Gunfighters, and which I suppose was equally mysterious because everybody has heard. All these actors would have grown up hearing American accents in the cinema, so why couldn't they reproduce them? And and they were so bad, these Scottish accents in the Red Cap, that they could have been American actors doing them. To bring that observation full circle.
Australians, Cockneys, and Scooby-Doo.
It's odd.
Well, so I guess what I'd say is I've got Scottish relatives. I mean, I didn't grow up in Scotland, so I'm not perfect on it. But because I've got Scottish relatives, I've got a bit of an ear for it. It didn't come across as being particularly offensive to me. I thought they all sounded reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah, they're accurate, but turned up to 11.
I mean, they're probably not Highland accents,
inaccurate.
But then I'm not sure. I'm not sure they were all Highlanders anyway. In Bonnie Prince Charlie's army, there's a right old mixture of different people in the army.
Yes. Sorry to make a generic comment rather than a specific one. I was so gripped by this that I wanted to know what happens next. That cliffhanger. I was shocked. I'd completely forgotten. What does happen next? Oh no! Don't tell me. I'll watch it in the morning.
Yeah. Well, like Rory, Ben dies, but then he's brought back to life magically. No, he's a hero, so he escapes.
Oh, that's less interesting.
I mean, I guess it's another classic actually, where although you say that you want to watch episode 4, I think on balance, episode 4 is probably a bit disappointing in the way it having been set up. It probably isn't going to, it can't be quite as climactic as you think it's going to be.
Quite interested to see how that fight plays out because it's all in studio rather than pre-filmed. But
I mean, people say it's a bit of a surprise that Jamie ends up in the TARDIS because he's hardly in it. But I mean, he is. Certainly in this episode, he's a constant in the scenes on the ship, and he's got as much dialogue as anybody in that particular party.
Yeah.
Isn't it more one of those situations where they want Fraser Hines to join the cast rather than Jamie?
Yeah.
Luckily.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that, but I think I was corrected on that when I brought it up. I think it was in the contract from the outset that whoever signed up to be Jamie had the option to be in multiple ongoing.
Are you saying we've been lied to all these decades?
Yeah, I think so.
What about reshoots and things?
Well, this is the question. If they always thought there was a chance of Jamie joining, why didn't they film both versions of the ending the first time out, rather than going back onto the moors to stage his departure?
Onto the moors. I mean, at least we should be thankful that they didn't, having decided how much they enjoyed Fraser Hines bringing Jamie Ingram to life, they didn't just end with him going forward to the present day and picking up his great-great-great-grandson.
Well, I don't know. I think probably should have had her away and they should have taken Algie along. He'd have been a good companion.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it, that you always look at it in terms of what actually it's like that we were talking about earlier with the historicals. You know what happened, and so therefore you assume it had to happen that way. But there are probably any number of arbitrary decisions that could have gone a different way, and we would have an entirely different program as a result.
Well, one of the things I talk about on the other podcast is the fact that they get to have their cake and eat it by inventing a ship that is equivalent to all of the ones in the historic record, which also have female names, but they invent the Annabelle so that they can do what they want with it.
Right.
And similarly, the character of Finch and although there is a real Solicitor Grey in the historical record, they created Perkins, so you can have Finch and Perkins and their payoff or their redemption or whatever, and you can have the defeat of the Annabelle, which doesn't conflict with real history. So you have fictional characters set against a historical backdrop, which allow you to have these little victories, which, for all their merits, things like the Massacre and the Mythmakers don't really have, because you're sticking to characters with predefined fates. So the best you can do is like have an Anne Chapelet, but even then they kind of fudged it. But yes, if you're going to have all of these historical figures, then you know where they're going to end up. So I like the fact that the Highlanders swerves it.
Is the Smugglers broadly similar, but it has one or two genuine bits of historicity in it, doesn't it? The Smugglers being the only historical story that we didn't pick, I note. Is that right? Getting missing.
Good Lord. The only completely missing one, I think you're right, yeah.
Wow.
But yes.
I don't feel drawn to it in the same way.
No.
I mean,
it's not really grounded in a historical event in the same way. It's just got a bit of colourful background. I think compared to, this feels more grounded in real history, just because it's got that background, even though it does fall into that same template of what sort of romance adventure novel are we going to rip off this week.
Anything else anyone wanted to say about this one before we move along? I guess in closing, I mean, so we've done with this the sort of classic of, we've cherry picked ones that we would be pleased to see back, but if a missing episode does come back, it's going to be whatever it is, whether we like it or not. Perhaps one of the things that we've tried to do this evening in going through these stories is to highlight that any one of these might answer some questions, and I think probably any of the episodes that are currently missing, if they come back, would probably answer one or more small pieces of something that we just don't know the answer to at the moment. Whether it's a favourite of ours or not, there's probably some interest in seeing anything.
Absolutely. Well, we should test that one day by rolling our 97-sided die, and I'd feel less pressured, less exposed
to justify yourself.
If it had nothing to do, if it gave away nothing about my personal tastes or mentality.
What if we cross out
lack
these,
of moral character?
If we cross out these 8 and then roll a dice on the other 89, we might have an interesting discussion.
Yeah.
With a lot of flipping through reference material as we're stalling for time.
I'm not saying we do it live.
I tell you what.
That would be. Not after last time.
I tell you what, perhaps another thing to think about is when I first read The Making of Doctor Who back in the late 70s, it was the book that sort of broke it to you that not all of the stories were still there. It wasn't explicit about which ones had survived and which ones hadn't, and really back in the 70s it hardly mattered because we never saw anything on telly anyway. But bit by bit since then, I guess, the missing episodes have come back to us in so many ways, like the finding of the soundtracks, the finding of the telesnaps, the bits of film from different sources that have all been slotted together. So, whereas perhaps the only way to have experienced them in the 80s was when those novelizations were written. But now there's so many ways in which we can almost understand what it would be like to watch them, and yet the difference between that and the actual episode, still would yield quite a lot. I mean, I'd say in watching the 8 episodes over the course of the last few days, I felt like I'd experienced them, but I was also aware that there were probably some aspects that I was missing.
Yes.
Anything anyone else wants to say before we bring this thing to the conclusion?
Richard, I was going to ask if there was any merit in a discussion just of a couple of minutes length on why we've picked nothing post Highlanders 3, which is to say, mostly Hartnell, then nothing past the first couple of Troughton stories. Nothing from the classic series, season 5. Why do we think that is? I know why I didn't, and I sort of hinted at it at the beginning yesterday. I just think those long 6-part stories are so consistent rather than homogenous, that it's harder to pick one out. But I don't know if that stands up.
I guess for me, I mean, the reason why I picked 2 stories side by side right at the start of the Troughton era is because I found that, more interesting. I felt like I knew less about that. More would be revealed to me by looking at those early stories. Whereas if you looked at something like Fury from the Deep, although it might be, I don't know, might be a great story, might not be, but I think I could understand what Troughton's performance would be like, what the feel of the story would be like from some of the similar stories around it. So,
yeah,
I guess that's why I've gone the way that I've gone.
And I suppose similarly, we've got a big cluster around the Wiles era, which is in some ways the most missing of the missing. Is most consistently missing, isn't it? So regardless of the fact that we all love Mythmakers and Massacre nowadays, they are the stories that have the most to gain from actually being able to be seen.
I have re-listened to Master Plan a couple of weeks ago, so it was fresh in my mind, and the impact of episode 12 was palpable. But lack of telesnaps, no sensor clips. I feel like with Fury's sensor clips and telesnaps, some really key moments come to life.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only other one that always tickles me, as I mentioned, is Space Pirates, because it's very, very missing. But we do have episode 2. So, yeah, I did flirt with episode 7 of Evil, but for the reason you said, we've got all of the behind-the-scenes Ealing footage. We've got the film trims, not film trims. What have we got? We've got film trims. We do have film trims of the Dalek models, don't we? If I imagine that. Or is that the behind-the-scenes stuff?
Oh.
Anyway,
I think
we've got a lot of visual material. We've got the telesnaps. Yeah. We got episode 2. So I ended up veering towards Power, even though we do have quite a lot of clips of Power. We don't have any episodes, and the telesnaps just make me want to see the production line even more. Yeah, there's a short list of 5 that I would probably have batted around, but that was why I tried to introduce the No Daleks, because I thought it might produce a more interesting and less obvious list.
Well, it did. So it's your fault that you got Celestial Toymaker, because otherwise I'd have gone for Evil 7.
Allegedly so.
I guess if I hadn't gone for Power, I might have gone for something from Macra Terror, but for the same reason, really, because it's early on and it's less clear to me what that feels like. Which is weird, because I mean I love Evil of the Daleks, so why am I not picking any episodes from it? I don't know. I would absolutely love to see it, but I feel like I know it, and I don't know the others so much.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, and I think that's the case with stories like the Moon Base. You know, I'd be very happy for the rest of it to be returned, but having 50% of it and the telesnaps, I feel I've got a pretty good handle on it. There's not a great deal. I mean, yes, I would love to see the moonwalk in episode 1.
Yeah.
But
I mean, Moonbase episode 3 is high on my list of wants, but I agree with you. It doesn't feel like it's solving mysteries in quite the same way.
And similarly, 10th Planet 4 is always high on lists, but for me, it's I don't have a desperate need for it. You know, we've got the regeneration, we've got off-air clips leading up to the regeneration, we've got telesnaps, and we've got the other 3/4 of it. So again, I'd be very happy to see it, but I don't feel it's an enormous gap in my knowledge.
I guess my criteria were the same, of just being, partly being a Hartnell stan for that whole era, and that it's that bit further removed from more modern Doctor Who that we get to see later, and we'd have, and the only two that we've not touched beyond Highlanders, that because the other criterion was I'm not saying I made a list and sort of ticked off points, but certainly it was partly at the back of my mind was episodes from completely missing stories, just because that would be what I'd prioritise. That's what I'm more interested in seeing if I had a choice out of anything that's randomly going to come back. Just something that's completely missing, please, just so we got a bit more of that puzzle. And I guess the only two that are beyond where we got to are Massacre and Fury from the Deep. And I think just those two won out, really. And I'm not entirely convinced that Massacre would stand up to being recovered.
Oh.
Plus, there's also slight side orders that it feels like things that have been animated in a slight way. It feels like they're a slightly lower priority. But that's
Well, funnily enough, with Massacre,
I'm not saying they don't stand in, but yeah.
Massacre's one where I kind of discount the animation because I don't feel like it's done a good job of capturing the sort of claustrophobic feel of the story. So I think I would be quite keen. I mean, it's not a personal favourite of mine, but I think I'd just be keen to see an episode of it just to get more of a sense of what it feels like.
Yeah, and that rough and tumble machine.
That's probably one of the bits that wouldn't stand up all that much if we saw it. But yeah, it'd be nice to get the to at least have the audio and the moving footage of it. Yeah. I watched all 6 episodes of Fury from the Deep, the recons that were on the DVD set that came out with the animation for another podcast, and I found that a much better watch than I found watching the animation. Oddly, I think it's just the way I'm wired. But having seen the animation, I was a bit disappointed with the story. But having watched the recons, I got more into it again.
Yeah, I only really want to know what it looked like. If like I said, if you're gonna do a visual version of it that's not the camera script, then just do something extraordinary, which is why I like Toymaker.
I've been trying to watch it, anything rather than listen to you, Luke, but I can't get the Blu-ray to play on Windows 11. Well, it's a nightmare. Oh well, I shall watch it properly on my widescreen television tomorrow, immediately after Highlanders 4.
Yeah.
And Big Finish, please let me write my Celestial Toymaker story. I've got so many ideas. I can't put them all in the same story now. So the longer you leave it, the more epic it's going to get. It's going to need to be
a Celestial Toymaker box set now, is it?
Yeah, well, I think it might have to be. Yeah, multiple Doctors. Again, a long game. Yeah.
Can they afford Doogie Howser?
Then just before he regenerates into Doogie Howser. We'll just start to hear the voice blur into his, and then we'll cut out.
I had no idea that there was anything between Doogie Howser and the Toymaker. As far as I was concerned, that was the last time I saw him before this. The fact that he seems to have had a long acting career is entirely incidental to me because I haven't seen him in any of it.
Oh, well.
Oh, okay.
He's in Starship Troopers, for heaven's sake.
Yes.
What's that?
What?
Oh.
Go and watch Starship Troopers before bed.
Yep, we've all got some homework to do. Oh, hang on. Yes, I knew I'd missed something off my list, so I've got to watch Gav's documentary.
You do.
God, how many more have I missed?
Well, have a look at the YouTube channel and just flick through them one by one.
That sounds like the only essential one, though.
Oh.
You finally got to the bottom of the scripts.
I think I did a pretty reasonable job of uncovering some interesting stuff, but it does raise questions still.
I hope you don't use your regrettable sense of humour too often, because that would really undercut the serious purpose of your researches. I assume you don't. I assume you treat it with the dignity and respect it deserves.
Thanks for listening to Something Who. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, rate and review our podcast. And please let us know what you liked about it. If you check out our feed, there's loads of other episodes. Well, I mean, there's at least another 120, and actually there's loads more because I've a bizarre numbering scheme. And you can listen to those while you're waiting for the next one to land. Also, if you like Something Who, please tell your friends, your family, your colleagues, your neighbours before they go missing. And if you hate us, don't tell a soul. We're aiming quite badly of late, but it's all been my fault, to make Something Who recordings about once a month. But it's just a fun thing we do in our spare time, so if it takes a bit longer, then please be patient with us. But we hope to be back soon with more thoughts on Doctor Who, old and new. And, can't wait for the next time that one of these stories is revealed to us.
Bye all.
Bye.
Ta-ra!
I'm sorry I didn't choose Evil 7. I'm sorry, everyone.
Idiot.
Sorry, Toby.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I don't know. Do we need Evil 7? I mean, it's another one of those that I fear is going to be a bit disappointing.
Well,
You'd
he's got
rather
toy
watch the dancing ballerinas than the destruction of the Emperor Dalek.
I'm not saying that.
Got on film. That's your choice.
I think I'd rather see something that isn't either of those two, probably. We've got bits of footage from the, of the model work for Evil 7. We've got various photographs. I don't know. Maybe it's brilliant, and I'd absolutely love it if I saw it. But I just have that nagging fear that last episodes of Doctor Who are generally a bit disappointing. And
Well, what about a middle episode of Evil instead, then? You've got Daleks in Grimm's Dyke, you've got a Dalek being thrown through the banisters and smashing into the fireplace.
You got that
big
fight with Jamie and the...
Well, it would be very revealing. It would be very
Chaldeans.
revealing, wouldn't it? Because we really haven't got a clue what's going on in any of
And
that.
we'd finally find out exactly how Kemmel ended up falling out of that window, because that bothers me.
You think it's a bit Dragonfire?
I don't know. I don't know whether it's rapid editing or what, but I just can't work out the geography. I think the CD says, the narrated audio says he charges like a bull and gets such a head of steam up that Jamie steps aside, and it's enough for him to fly all the way out of a window. But that would have to be so carefully edited not to be preposterous. I suggested to the animation team that maybe Whittaker had in mind the scene in Dalek Invasion of Earth where Ian opens a door to to a demolished section of building and falls out of. So I suggested that it was like because in the story the wing is either falling down or half built. I can't remember which in Evil of the Daleks. So I proposed, instead of an open window, that it was a door to nowhere, and that was. But also, you can see in the telesnap there's a loop of rope on a barrel in one telesnap that's then gone from the next telesnap. So I wondered whether Jamie sets up a tripwire for Kemmel as well. So questions for missing episodes. The explicit label going on this one.
Sorry, where was I? No, but I'll come back. Somebody else say something for a minute.
Thanks for listening to Something Who. Something Who?